New at IJL this year is the designer brands area, and I'm very, very happy to be part of this new concept that's been developed by the IJL team. It's bringing together myself and many of my contemporaries and sort of really helping, I think, to show the quality of, in my opinion, top-notch UK design. The inspiration for all the various collections comes from everything that basically happens around me. I study nature, I watch the way it sort of develops and goes through all the different seasons. For example, last season I was doing collections which were very much inspired by the snowdrifts, and that came from being actually basically locked in here for 14 weeks, felt like 14 weeks, but it's actually 14 days when we couldn't even get up the drive to go out to the post office or anything, but you saw some really beautiful snowdrifts, so that developed into the collection. And I love music, I love dance. All of these sort of basically natural rhythms I take as one great big bundle, put them into my head, tumble dryer them around, and they come out in these sculptural forms that I create, really. No human being has got any kind of straight bit on their body, so I hate to have any straight lines within my jewellery. And I think by there being no flat edges, no square corners, it means that when the jewellery is actually worn, it just fits in really, really naturally with different people's shapes. And it becomes very harmonious and almost like, hopefully, as one. I do know that people love to wear it and they do start to collect it, which I think is a massive compliment. I've been in business for over 25 years now. When I first left college, I worked for a product design and jewellery company. I left there after 2 years. I set up on my own. I took out 3 months to develop my first collection because I felt that I needed to make something that was completely individual and unique to myself. After 3 months, I just sort of hit retailers, and very, very fortunately, people took to it straight away. But this was back in the 1980s. There's many challenges which come up within the jewellery business. Not least at the moment is the obvious problem of the rising metal prices, which is making it very difficult for both designers, manufacturers and retailers to keep an idea of what's going on. It's just really challenging and it's very difficult, and I think we're all having to come to some form of compromise at the moment and just take a punt, really, and risk not getting everything completely wrong. There have been occasions where you've priced up things and then the gold price has just gone up a vast amount by the time it's delivered, but you just have to take the hit. And it does make it ever so difficult. So I really think that some of the new sort of up and coming designers must be really finding a major problem when they're pricing their collections out, because it's difficult. How can you change a price every week? You just can't do it, so you just have to take like an average over the whole thing. Over the years, your business sort of develops and it grows. I've always been quite, I would say, selfish to myself. I've never looked to have somebody else help me out in the business. I've always been very self-motivated, self-financed, and whenever I've had the profit, I've always put the profit straight back into the business to develop new collections, or in this case here, to build the new workshop that we have on the other side of the farm here. And I've actually loved working. I obviously don't work entirely on my own. I work with a team and I have lots of craftsmen that work with me. But by not having anybody that's actually been backing the company, it's given me the freedom to do exactly what I want and when I want it, and not to have to actually answer to anybody, which quite frankly would have probably found very scary if I'd have to answer to people. It just wouldn't work for me. But it's given me total, I think, creative freedom over where I've moved the brand to, how I've changed the designs along the way. And I'd say that the whole business has come from my heart, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. And it's just great to be able to have that creative freedom and not to have to answer to anybody. With my business, I've been through recessions before, and I've learned that you really need to take a very long-term view with the whole economy, all the various influences that businesses get from government to just day-to-day practicalities of running it. And I've just basically concentrated on working through that, never stopping creating new jewellery, because I think the moment you stop creating something new, then the retailers are immediately going to stop looking at you. It's like keeping one step ahead, really. If you're always keeping one step ahead, then everybody out there has to follow you, and nothing remains sort of static or stable. I've never been particularly motivated by money. It's always been the design that has actually motivated me. To this day, I still make every first master of every single design that I do. That keeps the whole collection harmonious. And to me, that is the thing that absolutely gets me out of bed every single morning. I love designing, and I love the actual physical challenge of making every new piece. To be a fully accomplished designer, you need to be able to design and make. Then you get exactly the design and the product and the finish and the quality of the jewellery that is in your mind to the customer. And they get all of you. It's like you giving away a bit of yourself every time you create something. And that's exciting. That keeps it fresh. We've been building a new workshop here on the farm. We started last August and it's almost completed now. And it's been like one of those little luxuries that we've definitely given ourselves. We've worked really, really hard to get where we are. And now we've decided that for ourselves, we've created the perfect environment for which we can work from. It's very interesting because being out here on the farm, we've got absolutely tons of space. So it's almost like we've designed it from the inside out. So we said we want to have this much space for the polishing room, this much space for the workshop, I want to have this office. We've got great views here, so all of the windows are basically maximising the view that we have down the valley. And it's fantastic. When you actually even now sit in that space, you feel like your mind becomes free and it expands. There's no sort of noise pollution to give sort of like friction to when you're putting your pencil over the paper or creating or carving a wax. And it's just absolutely fantastic to have the freedom to be able to do that. It's great. I really, really like it. And every time I go into that building, even though it's still in construction and we're still a couple of weeks away from finishing, it just feels absolutely perfect. When we first moved down to Wales and moving out of London, the collections changed with all the influences from the beach, the nature, all the plants, everything, etc. It changed, and my customers, really, really saw quite a large step and progression in the collections. We'll see if it happens again. Hope it does. I am on Facebook. I do enjoy being on Facebook, but I don't really use it at all to push the business. What I really love about that is actually seeing, obviously keeping in contact with friends, and a lot of friends from the jewellery business are also on Facebook, and I really like to see where they're getting their inspirations and their motivations from, and that comes through much more on Facebook than you might often see at a jewellery show, when things are obviously more business orientated, and that fascinates me. I like to see what gives people their kicks as well. It's good. I prefer the personal sort of communication with my customers. I don't like bombarding them with tons and tons of information. But by doing that, I think it does put over more of my personality to my customers and less of the sort of generic, oh, go and click on this link and follow it through and see what you get there. I also actually don't sell direct to the public. So my website's used as a tool to explain more about Sarah Jordan, to see where I get my ideas from, etc. And all of the contacts that come through the website, which are quite a few, I actually point to their local stockists, and I let the retailers deal with the public in that way. IJL is unique in the way that it brings together retailers, designers and manufacturers. It puts them all under the one roof for a very crammed 4 days every year, and it creates, to me, it always creates a very nice, very pleasant, buzzy atmosphere. The day just never ends at 6 o'clock when the doors shut. It just carries on and on and on. But it's like an ideal way to network. None of us ever lose sight of the serious business that's been doing there. And in recent years, it's timing wise it's been perfect being in September, because people have been nervous earlier in the year and then the retailers come there. I think they do click into the atmosphere that the organisers have created here, at IJL rather, and it gets them excited. It gets them excited about jewellery again, and they get, by being in that sort of state, they buy, they take the collections back to their staff get excited, and then hopefully we all have a fantastic Christmas again. New initiatives that have been introduced to IJL over the last 4 years I think have really improved the whole look of the show tremendously. It's definitely without doubt to me the best show I ever exhibit at. The style wise, it has a lovely luxurious feel to it. The Boulevard, the designer brands area obviously, which is new to this year, so we're really hoping that's going to work out very well. And the Diamond Club I think are 3 of the best ideas that I've seen show organisers put to the best advantage of the whole business in the last few years. Within the jewellery business there are some fantastic people, and IJL is unique in the way that it actually brings everybody together from all walks of the whole industry, and we can sort of all get together, have fun and do some serious business. It's cool. For IJL I'll be launching a new platinum bespoke design service with the customers, with my retailers. It's the idea that they can develop with their customers and with my assistance unique rings that are totally individual. I think it's going to be very important now with the price of platinum and all the other precious metals to offer something a little bit extra, and I think by offering a unique and personal service where the customer is going to walk off with a one-off basically, is going to be, I hope, something that's going to take off in consumer land out there, but specifically in precious, not in the silver area. Silver area, there'll be, I would imagine, about 5 new designs, of which 4 are almost complete at the moment. And again, those are all taken from movement and light waves.